I've been gaming for as long as I can remember, and it has always been a very important aspect of the past 19 years of my life. From my earliest memories of playing Star Wars Episode 1 Racer on the N64 against my sister as a toddler, to my very recent memories of building settlements in Fallout 4 nonstop as a freshman in college. I have always had great experiences with gaming, but gaming has always been more to me than just something to do in order to kill time. Growing up, my three favorite TV shows were SpongeBob SquarePants, The Fairly Odd Parents, and Jimmy Neutron. And after I finally got my own video game system for my 6th birthday, which was of course a PlayStation 2, how truly mind-blowing to me it was to actually be able to explore and interact with my favorite cartoon universes. The ability to explore every major location in the SpongeBob universe, from Bikini Bottom to Rock Bottom to Jellyfish Fields to the Kelp Forest, was a very big deal to me as a child. And as silly as it may sound to some people, Battle for Bikini Bottom remains one of my favorite games of all time because of that experience. There was also, of course, The Fairly Odd Parents Breaking the Rules and Jimmy Neutron Attack of the Twonkies, which were also amazing to me back then. Needless to say, cartoon-inspired video games were very well made back in my day. I, of course, have even more great experiences with my PS2, but having the opportunity to actually play as my favorite cartoon characters and to interact with the world that I've seen on my TV was an experience that really stood out to me as a kid. As I matured into my preteen years and the next generation of consoles arrived, my gaming experience also matured. My 11th birthday was perhaps the most bittersweet time in my life. It was Friday, May 1st, 2009, 2 days before my birthday and 1 day before my birthday party, which was supposed to be this awesome disco party that everyone in my 5th grade class was invited to. It was going to be awesome, right? I was so excited I couldn't even concentrate in school that day. I just wanted the weekend to start already. That day, in the middle of class, my parents actually came to school to pick me up early. They told me it was an early birthday present to, pick me up early from school, and I can get out early, because they never really did that. But as soon as I came home, I quickly learned that was not the case. The real reason why I was picked up early from school was because my grandma was sick. You see, she was in the hospital for a few weeks at that point, but I thought nothing of it. It was supposed to be a simple operation to correct a breathing problem that she's been having lately. And for the first few weeks she was in the hospital, everything was fine. She had no problems whatsoever. The day I found out about my grandma's failing health was actually the day things started getting bad, so everything was happening, really fast, right? I was told point blank that things weren't looking too good for her. From my understanding, what happened was that she had caught an infection in the hospital, and that infection was so bad that her kidney shut down and all her other organs were starting to shut down. So, yeah, it was so bad that my parents decided to cancel my birthday party that was scheduled for the next day. So, obviously, I was really upset about the whole situation. I had no idea what the hell was going on with my grandma and what was going to happen to her. And on top of that, the birthday party I was looking forward to for months was canceled in an attempt to try to make things up to me. My mom decided to give me my birthday present a few days early. And that present was a PlayStation 3. It was the fat 80-gigabyte version because back then that was the PS3 that was sold. The PS3 came with 2 games, Iron Man and The Incredible Hulk. Now, if you actually look at the reviews that those games got, they weren't so good. Iron Man averaged 40%, and The Incredible Hulk was, 55% on Metacritic. So, it might sound like shitty games to start off with, but you have to understand that I was still in elementary school back then, and I was a huge Marvel fan. So they were the perfect games to start off with for me. I enjoyed the PS3 so much that I played it nonstop until I got too tired to continue playing and had to go to sleep. The next morning, it's now May 2nd, I wake up and the first thing I do is go back on my PS3 and keep playing Iron Man. In hindsight, I'm not too sure if it was the game itself that got me addicted to the PS3 as much as it was the better graphics, which I was not used to because it was my first experience with 7th Gen hardware. And anyone who was around back then would know how huge of a leap the graphics were between the 6th and 7th generations, at least compared to the PS3 and PS4. Anyway, at that point, I was just focusing on playing the game and distracting myself from how frustrated I was. That day was supposed to be my birthday party. I was supposed to have so much fun with my friends and never forget this day. Well, it turns out that I wouldn't forget this day, no matter how hard I tried. In the middle of my game, I hear my mom come home. She had previously left to visit my grandmother in the hospital. She called me upstairs. She paused for a few seconds and then said flat out, "Grandma's gone." What? Grandma's dead? As soon as I processed the news that I just heard, I collapsed on the floor in tears. I couldn't contain myself. At that point in my life, I've experienced a few losses before, but nothing like this. My grandma was a second mother to me and was the kindest person I've ever known. And that holds true to this day. Never met anyone as compassionate, understanding, and caring as she was, and I probably never will. So the next month was a very dark period of my life. I took a week off of school to take some time to process this and, of course, to help my family with funeral arrangements. Then, soon after I returned to school, I got in serious trouble over an incident with another classmate and got myself a week of detention during my lunch period, which I never went to. I was only able to get away with that because my mother felt that I already went through enough, so she actually drove to the school during my lunch period for that week and took me out to eat, so I never went to detention. I was so done with shit to the point that I didn't even attend my 5th grade graduation ceremony because I was so pissed off with the school. There were 3 reasons why I kept going at that point. My little cousin, who I was always hanging out with, we actually used to make YouTube videos together back then. Some of them are still online. We were both traumatized by our grandma's death, and we really helped each other cope with the loss. Sadly, we don't talk anymore. It's been many years since we've had a conversation, but I hope she's doing well. So she was one thing that kept me going during this terrible time in my life. Some of the very first YouTube videos I ever made were with my cousin, like I said. Which brings me to the second thing that helped me through all of this, YouTube. I created my first YouTube account in April 2009, a month before all this shit happened. Making videos and interacting with people on that site was another thing that kept my mind off of all this shit. And the third thing that really helped me out during this time was actually gaming. What a surprise, I know. But you guys need to understand how healthy it was for me during this tough time in my life to be able to escape into another world. And I was able to do that at home with my PS3 or Wii and on the go with my PSP or DSi. I was experiencing so much trauma and depression in the real world that constantly escaping to virtual reality was necessary for me in order to keep my sanity. So not long after I started middle school, needless to say, I didn't have an amazing social experience during my 3 years there. It's kind of weird to explain, actually. I wasn't a total loser with no friends, but the friends I had were very unreliable, and I was bullied and harassed by a lot of people in the school pretty much on a daily basis. I also struggled in school a lot and nearly failed math class in the 7th grade, which wasn't very fun. Not to mention the countless physical altercations I got myself into. I think I got beaten up like 8 or 9 times, give or take, during my 3 years in junior high, and I got into 3 actual fist fights. So getting bullied on top of going through puberty and just trying to figure out the process of who I was, it was an interesting time back then, and it was very hard. Basically, I was going through a lot of shit at this time. 2009 to 2012 were probably 3 of the hardest years of my life, but those years also happened to contain my fondest gaming memories ever. Similar to needing an escape from the trauma of losing my grandmother, I also needed an escape from the extreme anxiety I was going through in transitioning from a child to a teenager. Middle school was a huge adjustment for me. It was probably the hardest transition for me when it comes to school. Transitioning from middle school to high school was fairly smooth, and transitioning from high school to college was a piece of cake for me. It was no big deal at all. But going from elementary school to middle school was a real doozy for me, and gaming turned out to be a good therapy for me at that time. So I was in middle school during the height of the 7th generation of consoles. 2009 and especially 2010 were great years for the gaming industry. Modern Warfare 2 was my first Call of Duty game ever, and my first M-rated game as well. Everyone who grew up playing this game generally agrees that this was the greatest COD game to date. Let's just hope Activision doesn't decide to remaster Modern Warfare 2 and ruin the game like they did with Call of Duty 4 Remastered, but hey, that's besides the point. The COD gaming community was so vibrant and was much less cancerous back then than it is now. I remember watching guys like White Boy 7th Street, Legend of Thunder, and other YouTubers that did gameplay commentaries in 2010, 2011, MW2, Black Ops 1 era. But eventually my interest in Call of Duty deteriorated over time since the release of MW3. Regardless, I can make an entire video or series of videos talking about my experiences with the 7th generation of consoles, and I just might do that, because I think I could say without a doubt that 2009 to 2011 were my favorite gaming years to date. So many great games were out back then. I remember watching E3 every year, having such a hard time deciding which games I'm going to get. These days, that's hardly the case. I remember E3 this year. I can't remember a single game that actually caught my attention, and I'm like, oh shit, I have to buy that game. That never really happened this year. This year and last year haven't been too good E3s, so. But back then, it was really good. The current gaming generation is a very lackluster one, to say the least. The PlayStation 4 and Xbox One do offer a lot of amazing titles, but not nearly as many as the previous generations of consoles did, especially since a lot of the best-selling games this generation are just remasters of PS3 360 games. I remember 2014 especially was just the year of remasters. Not too many games actually came out during this time, and the ones that did received mixed reviews from critics and players alike. So the 8th generation of consoles haven't really done a good job in hooking me into gaming as much as the 7th generation did, and of course the 6th generation did. I don't really have too many standout experiences with the 8th generation of consoles. I'm trying to think so hard of games that I've played so much during the 8th generation. Let's see, there was Fallout 4, of course, which I mentioned earlier. GTA 5, which again was a remaster. I played a lot of Skyrim, which was a remaster. Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of too many great exclusives. Okay, there was Uncharted 4. That was great. But I think the older Uncharteds were better, in my opinion. And now the big exclusive that PlayStation has is the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, which, again, is another remaster. So, again, with the remasters and upon remasters, not too many new games that really catch my breath. Of course, Sony has had a lot of good exclusives, as well as Microsoft, but not nearly as good, not nearly as great quality as the previous generation exclusives did. But one aspect of the 7th generation that carried over to the 8th generation was, of course, the infamous console wars. Yes, PlayStation versus Xbox, and to an extent, PC as well. It's just, I don't know what to say about the console wars. It's just so stupid. You have people who are PlayStation fanboys. You have PlayStation fanboys that wish that the Xbox dies and fails. And, of course, you have the Xbox fanboys that wish that the PlayStation dies and fails. Which, I don't understand how these people think that winning a war and putting another company out of business is good for them. It's really bad for the consumer to have only one company that makes consoles, to have monopoly over the industry. It's just these people are fucking stupid. They're pretty much cancer to the to the community, and it just shows because the PlayStation, Xbox, they want nothing to do with your JTEX and your crap gamers. What does that say? Because they're just so toxic. They're so hostile towards other people, and they try to like call you out for being a terrible person for not agreeing with their warped views of the industry. It's just crazy how these wars are. You have so many people on this community, right, that attack other people and call them terrible people and judge people outside of gaming and outside of YouTube, call them a terrible person for not agreeing with their views on gaming, not agreeing that, oh, PlayStation is better than Xbox, or Xbox is better than PlayStation, or that PC is the best, or that Nintendo is the best. Like, who cares? Honestly, who the fuck cares? Why are you going to judge people based on their gaming preferences? It's just a fucking stupid thing to do, and we need to stop that behavior. We need to look at each other as human beings before gamers, because I feel like the community is not doing a good job of doing that. They just judge people based on the games they play, what platform they're on, and other shit that doesn't even fucking matter. Like, let people enjoy the games that they play, let people enjoy what they like to play, and that should just be it. Why do you need to judge people for being terrible human beings, for not agreeing with your fucking views on video games? It's video games. It shouldn't be fucking taken seriously, guys. Seriously. I think we all need to just stop doing that, avoid that mentality, and move on. Because at the end of the day, going after people and calling them all these names and calling them terrible people for not agreeing with your views isn't going to change their fucking views. It's probably going to make them even more hostile. I think that's the problem with the console war, and that's the reason why it keeps continuing. You have PlayStation fanboys and you have Xbox fanboys, right? The PlayStation fanboys call out Xbox fanboys and call them stupid and call them all these different names, which in turn causes the Xbox fanboys to retaliate and use the same bullshit tactics that they use, calling them names and all this other. It's just stupid. That's one aspect of the community that I hate. It's an ugly stain on an otherwise great community. I absolutely love the gaming community, but there obviously are flaws, as there is in every other community that I'm a part of. Because, as some of you are aware, I am a part of many different communities online. I have a political channel, a TV and movie review channel, a pro wrestling channel, a vlog channel, and hell, I even have a food channel. But out of all the different online communities that I consider myself to be a part of, the gaming community will always have the most special place in my heart. I love gaming. I love gaming culture. I love that gaming is able to bring together people who would otherwise have absolutely nothing in common. People from different political views, occupations, lifestyles, cultures, whatever, but all have their love for the gaming industry in common. And yeah, there are many issues facing the gaming community right now. Too many people in this community are participating in these petty platform wars that accomplish nothing, but I think there's an easy solution to this problem. We simply need to see each other as human beings first and foremost, rather than just a damn gamer tag on a screen. That's really all it boils down to. We need to just empathize with each other more than we do. And I assure you that as soon as we start doing that, then all the issues facing the community will essentially be resolved. So what does gaming mean to me? It means that I always have the option to escape into a different reality when real life is too much to handle. It means that I can connect and interact with great people who I would otherwise never have the opportunity to meet. It means that I can occasionally get that rush of adrenaline when winning a game, which is a much better and safer experience than getting high off of drugs. It means a lot of different things to me. I can't quantify how much gaming truly means to me and how much positive influence it's had in my life. But I want to hear what gaming means to you. What does gaming mean to you? What are some of your best gaming experiences in your life? I want to know that. I'm very interested to hear what gaming means to you. Share your experiences in the comments down below. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. See you later.